Many of you know that AARP Foundation has had a long-standing commitment to eliminating senior poverty, and our work to address social isolation, to build sustainable social connections that foster resilience and strengthen communities and restore hope to people is a key part of everything that we do at AARP Foundation. So critical to help low-income older adults remain connected to a reliable and active social network of people they can count on, and as importantly, provide bridging opportunities and means for low-income older adults to access vital community resources that help them have the income, the financial resiliency, and to tap into their own agency so that they can thrive as they age. And as Jeremy said, and we all know, this past year, it has been really tough to address social isolation because it is growing, as noted, across the population. Activity was halted during COVID-19 as it needed to be. And we came together as a community of practitioners across many, many different sectors and spheres to recognize that physical distance did not need to become social disconnection. We've also had an opportunity during this pandemic to lift forward and raise awareness for the issue of social isolation and remind people that well before the pandemic, a third of older adults were struggling with social isolation. And even as we anticipate a time when we may return to activities that connect us face to face with others, there are vulnerable older adults who will remain isolated, and it is so critical that we do not forget them.
Hello, I am Eugenia Walker, Project Director for the AARP Foundation Senior Community Service Employment Program. It's important for us to build and maintain healthy relationships with our participants, and that's several reasons for that. One is, of course, is to help them progress through the program and move toward their goals of employment. In our efforts to do that, we may need to help them deal with barriers that are above and beyond their needs of employment, and that can be a distraction. They may have needs of homelessness or food or lack of transportation, or their mental status may need some attention. The technology that we use is very helpful. When we were inside to keep ourselves healthy, we were able to use the Microsoft Teams to meet with them regularly, and also the Zoom to meet with them regularly. Every week, we touch base with each participant multiple times in an effort to make sure that they were still healthy and still moving forward in their training, because we provided training through these as well. We also have the technology, which is the Signal Vine, and that allows us to regularly communicate with the participants that do not use email on a regular basis. And in my area, that's about 70% of the population.
Hi, my name is Ken Mace, and I am from Shawnee, Oklahoma. And in 2008, I became homeless. Suffering through the depression of 2007, I struggled to find work, but it was difficult for me. And so I lived on the street, and I struggled of being homeless, of being able to secure employment. It's difficult. I never ever thought I would be a person that was homeless. Yeah, I'd seen homeless people in my life, all my life, and said I'll never be one of those. And when I became one of them, it was the most difficult thing for me to overcome without a physical address, and then losing transportation. I lost my car. I lost every asset that I ever had accumulated in my entire life. The house going into foreclosure, I was embarrassed and ashamed, and I just didn't know which way to turn. But I managed to survive on the street for almost 8 years. And that's what led me to CSEP. I'm no longer homeless. I've got a future with the Pottawatomie County community markets, and that all came to CSEP now. And I'm probably somebody that obviously feels so strongly about this program because of what it's done for me. But it's a good program. They when the pandemic hit, they didn't know how we were going to all stay connected. They sent us letters in the mail. I have I given my email address, so they knew that I had an email. But really, the only really technology that I'm familiar with and stayed with, simply having lost everything, being homeless. I lost my computer, I lost my tablets, I lost even my smartphone. But we were able to stay connected, and not only and they guided us through. They guided us through the pandemic. They reassured us, and it was not only a work thing, but it was comforting to not be isolated. There's one thing about being homeless is isolation it becomes a terrible thing, and it just really makes you feel worse than what needs to be. But they kept us connected, and for me it was like a lifeline.